Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It's Aaron St. Denis at FFMadScientist, joined by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel at
Yep.
FF_Rebel. And yeah, that one. I can read. I read good. I read good. And Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. And on that wonderful note, welcome to the Fantasy Football Universe. Welcome to watch Aaron have a stroke live on the air, because that's what happens, right?
Did you wet yourself? That's the most important question. Oh, there it goes.
Bad boy. Don't do that. All right. Welcome to the 2024 rookie sneak peek for Michigan wide receiver Roman Wilson. I am going to do my best to be impartial, which means I probably shouldn't talk. Anyways, hailing from Honolulu, Hawaii, and attended U of M after graduating from St. Louis High School. This is not written in the way I normally write it. Who wrote this one? That would be Jesse?
You got it. Yes, sir.
All right. If you'd like to read Jesse's work or any of these rookie profiles, go see the full write-up at fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Some of them are small novels. Jesse is not short-winded. He loves himself some rookies.
All day.
During his freshman year in 2020, he played all 6 games for Michigan, and that was a COVID year, right?
Yeah.
However, he did not make much of an impact, only totaling 9 receptions for 122 yards and a TD. In 2021, he showed improvement, played in all 13 games for Michigan, ranked 3rd in terms of both receptions and yards, and came in 1st in receiving touchdowns. I assume that's for the team?
Yeah, with only 400 yards. Yeah, definitely with the team.
I was like, wait, in the conference? I'm like, you have Marvin Harrison in the... Okay, on the team. That makes sense. By the conclusion of the season, he had accumulated 25 catches, 420 yards, and 3 touchdowns. As a junior, his production regressed. Why you got to put so many words in a row that I can't say? You guys you mess with me, right? You program this into Chat GPT and say, make sure this is written in a way that's going to give Aaron a stroke, right?
Sure about Aaron's brain, exactly. Yep, that's my go-to.
No, but I will do that now. Going forward, expect.
Yeah, just awesome. It's Aaron's birthday and he hasn't even been drinking. Just be glad. I can't say these when I'm sober.
This is my birthday gift to you.
He put it all together as a senior, leading the Wolverines in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, helping to guide them to a national championship. He had 48 catches, 789 yards, and 12 touchdowns. That does not seem like a stat line you would see on the leading receiver on a team that won the national title. But it is what it is. So what stood out to you here, Jesse?
Just like we just talked about McMillan, and it's kind of similar. He's very much in that smaller range. He's a little bit smaller. He's like 5'10", 186. So he's a thinner frame guy, but overall, he can do a lot for you in the offensive side. With his size that limits him, I think he's more going to play inside as like a slot plus player. I just think he's more of a mystery box because of the offense he's coming from. We didn't get to see them fully unleash him and his potential. Because if you watch the highlights, he looks really good. He can do a lot of things. It's just from an NFL perspective, I'm more curious how he is deployed because realistically, Michigan just didn't need to pass, so they did not have to focus as much as a team like Washington, right, where they had to pass. So I think it kind of hurts him from a little bit just because we don't know as much as we know about the other guys.
I absolutely hate trying to project these Michigan players. I mean, I get it. Harbaugh was a great coach. He got them to a national championship, made the college playoffs, 3 years in a row, was it? He just, some of the ways he uses these players is just terrible. And they run some of the weirdest offenses that it's like they're content winning games in the weirdest fashion ever. And you'll get a whole class of players where it's like, I don't know if Blake Corum is a top 3 running back or if he's in the CFL next year. Like these guys, you see, like Nico Collins coming out. I said, oh, it was all Harbaugh. Harbaugh was terrible. Nico's going to be awesome. Then he sucked. Oh, it doesn't matter. Nico's going to be awesome. Then he sucked. Oh, finally, Nico was awesome. So these guys, I just don't know, man. But what did you see here, Jeremy?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the separation is awesome. He's super quick. They used him a lot in motion, which sometimes could be a red flag, but sometimes just because the guy is really good and it's creating that additional space for him, so he doesn't have to work as hard. And I thought, Overall, you wish he were bigger. But, we've seen guys like Tank Dell come into the league and dominate. So hopefully it doesn't matter in his case.
Yep. As you see the size there, 5'10", 186. So he is not, well, I mean, according to last year, he was the giant in the class, if you go by last year's class, but he's the smaller guy in this group, senior, 22 and a half years old, all 4 years at Michigan. Let's get into the tape here. The strengths on tape. His elite athleticism is obvious. He possesses great speed and agility, has excellent ball tracking skills, and can locate the ball anywhere. He can play inside or outside at the next level, but he's most likely a slot plus. Strong hands that help him make up for smaller size and contested catch situations. Difficult to stay with one-on-one as he uses his athleticism and route running skills to get separation. And he is a smooth player who makes things look effortless. If only my reading skills would allow me to do the same. What was his strength, Jesse?
For me, it's how easy he makes things look and basically his routes and his ability to break it off in the initial one. It's really just, it's fluid, it's smooth, it's what you look for. And this is why he shines so bright at the Senior Bowl doing one-on-ones. Because, by the way, one-on-ones are a massive advantage for wide receivers going against corners.
Yes, they are. Yes,
so route runners, such as like Roman Wilson, they get to cook all day. And it's not even fair. Like him and McConkey were just beasts. So, yeah, like he came away as probably the winner from the Senior Bowl because he could do a lot of those things. And he seemed a lot more pro-ready than the other guys, even though he came from the Michigan offense, was a whole other thing. But overall, I think it's basically his ability to consistently win as a slot player. Like I like that from him.
How about you, Jeremy? What did you think?
I mean, no argument there. I mean, he's winning. The separation is great. One thing that I noticed that I liked a lot is he sits really nicely in space. I forget who I was listening to. It was probably Matt Waldman. Because I love to get my ears on anything that guy puts out. But he or somebody else was saying that, progressively over the last 3 years in the NFL, defenses are moving towards more zone heavy schemes. And for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, they were over, as a whole, the NFL defenses were over 70% screen or zone usage in their defenses. And you're doing zone blitz and you're trying to disguise defenses, so it makes sense. But you need wide receivers now who are coming into this league who not only can beat man coverage, but they need to be adept at like moving in space, figuring out when to sit down. And this guy, Roman Wilson, has that sense about him already. He sits down nicely. He's able to find that space and ad lib. And McCarthy wasn't throwing too many passes, as we know. So Roman Wilson was able to kind of demonstrate that with limited reps.
All right, some of the weaknesses. Although possessing elite speed, the ability in short areas is somewhat lacking. He's better deep than he is short. Size limits, upside at the next level. Would like more yak from a player as fast as he is. It would be great to see him improve his route tree to become a more well-rounded receiver. And he has never had an outstanding season in college, like we seen. Best season was 789 yards. Take that for what it's worth, Michigan offense. What stood out as the biggest weakness for you, Jesse?
It's the offense he's coming from and what they asked him to do. It was not a ton of thing, and they're not these pro NFL concepts. It's a lot of simple stuff. So from his route tree, I just don't know if he can do it. And obviously, like I want to believe he can because he's a good route runner. We just don't know. So like I need to see that from him, and this will come out in time, like with coaches and he gets drafted to the team if they have that. If he's able to check all those boxes, it means he'll play a lot sooner in the NFL. Like he'll step in right away if he could do all of the NFL team requires from him. But that's really my biggest question, right? It's that, and it's the lack of yak. Like I want to see him be better with the yak and stuff underneath because he's going to be a slot player.
Yeah. How about you, Jeremy?
Even though he's going to be a slot, I still think it's his size. You want him just to be a little bit bigger to provide that bigger target. McCarthy, as we know, is not the most accurate guy. He missed him on a fair amount of easy throws. And even though he separates well, sometimes he does obviously get into contested catch situations with bigger corners in the NFL. That's only going to make it more difficult. And look, there's nothing he can do about his size. He just needs to, as Jesse recommended, just continue to work on his route tree so he can get that separation as often as possible. Yeah,
that was the problem for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love him. He's a Michigan guy, but everyone's going to say Tank Dell because of the size. My problem is I don't think he's as explosive as Tank Dell. Mm-hmm. That's why Tank Dell was able to do it. He had a whole different skill set. I think this is Tank Dell, except not nearly as explosive, which is not nearly as appealing to me.
I was actually looking up Dell and his combine metrics when I was watching Roman's tape just to see, but Dell didn't do a 3-cone or shuttle or anything. So I was like, no information.
He was hurt, wasn't he, Dell?
I don't know. Was it?
Something? Yeah, there's definitely something. I can't remember what it was, but there's something.
Yeah, and maybe not. Maybe he ran the 40 and went home. I don't remember.
That could have been it.
I think that's what it was. He ran the 40. His draft stock boosted after and he said screw it and went home. But all right, as far as draft analysis go, we have him as but somewhere in day 2, round 2, round 3. You have him as Las Vegas with the 77th pick. Why Las Vegas? Just
because they need his type of player. Like, they have Jacoby Myers, they have Devontae Adams, but again, like it's a very thin wide receiver room. And outside of that, like if you're looking for someone to do that and kind of work the stretch it, because like Adams pushes it downfield, but Myers wasn't doing that. So I think Roman Wilson gives them another element as like a vertical slot that he can play very well. And I think that fits really well with what the Raiders want to do in the offense they're trying to run. So I like his fit there with them.
How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, we were talking about who were we just talking about? Who's the last? Oh, McMillan, and how he might fit with the Jets. I think Roman Wilson just feels like a Jet, right? He's just got that high motor and like stockier guy coming over the middle in the slot. It's kind of, look, I don't know if Randall Cobb is going to be alive next season, but if he is, he could be a good mentor to Roman Wilson and just help kind of coach him up. And especially with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, it would be an ideal spot for Wilson, I think.
Did I hear that wrong? Did you mean he wasn't going to be on the Jets next year? Did you say he won't be alive next year?
I did. I don't
think he's that old.
We wish Randall Cobb and his family all the best for sure.
Those old bones, they might not hold up.
I think
old man strength right there.
We mentioned McMillan briefly. I think I liked McMillan's upside more than I like Wilson.
Me too. Yeah, I think he's better.
I think it's neck and neck for me.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think Wilson goes higher in the draft.
Yeah, based on the Senior Bowl and everything with Wilson, like he's on an upward trajectory. McMillan's more on a downward trend just based on the last year. Wow. Even though I think McMillan's a better player. If I had to choose.
Wilson also runs a projected 4.37, which is
they're both those guys are going to be fast. I think McMillan does have like higher 40 speed, but I am we're talking about. Yeah, I think. Or sorry, no, I meant Wilson. I think Wilson's
going to run higher. McMillan. Oh no, they're both McMillan's 4.38. Yeah.
I think the like what we're curious about with Roman is the underneath stuff and his 10-yard and stuff like that. I think he might run a little short on that. So if he proves that, and that would help with like the yak we're talking about, because then he can get in and out faster. So I'm just more curious about him. He's more mystery box to me.
That's not going to hurt him at all, because as we've seen from these guys at the combine, they only run the events they're good at. I hate that. I'd rather the guy who shows up and says, I'm not doing anything, than the guy who says, I'm going to do this one thing that I'm good at and then sit everything out. Do it all or don't do any of it. I don't care.
Like Devonta Smith, just be like, nope, I'm good. Take me. Like, this is what it is, right? Yep.
Hey, if you win the Heisman, you get that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he won a natty, so.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
All right, that concludes the 2024 rookie sneak peek of Michigan wide receiver Roman Wilson. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you for tuning into the Fantasy Football Universe. Head over to the website, fantasyfootballuniverse.com, for all the write-ups of each one of these players, or check back tomorrow for the next video in the series.